Hey guys, and welcome to a new episode of Mastichiamo. We haven't done one of those in a while. Lately, the Italian parties have been fighting over who should succeed Sergio Mattarella as President of the Republic of Italy. The dynamics are quite interesting and say a lot about the strategies and long-term objectives of the party secretaries. Since the President of the Republic has a 7-year term to abide to, succeeding in placing an ally or someone close to you ideologically clearly represents a vital advantage for the formation of future government coalitions. The first leaders I want to look at today are the members of the right-wing coalition: Salvini from Lega, Meloni from Brothers of Italy, and Silvio Berlusconi from Forza Italia. Their current candidate for the presidency is Berlusconi himself, who, despite his questionable history with the law, has a spotless track record, having been prime minister 4 times and having a 28-year-long political career. If all the parliamentarians in the coalition voted in favor of Berlusconi, or as they call him here, the Knight, he would be 50 votes away from being elected on the 4th scrutiny. He has no chance to win before that because in the first 3 scrutinies you need 3/4 of the votes, and that's just not possible. Berlusconi, despite his age and percentages certainly not as exciting as they once were, continues to be essential in the coalition. He has no intention to take back his candidacy, and not only because it is the dream that he has been cultivating for years, but also because this time it is the center-right that holds the most weight in the decision process. However, convincing his 2 allies who have very different interests might not be too easy for too long, unless Berlusconi manages to get the 50 votes he is missing, which is still possible since he has done it before and has many connections, but his victory is far from certain. Out of the 2 allies, Meloni is certainly the hardest to appease. Her polling scores speak for themselves. If elections were held tomorrow, Brothers of Italy would be the biggest party in the coalition, if not the whole country, hence making her the coalition leader. Meloni does see the value of a friendly face at the head of state, but given Draghi's popularity and the scores she achieved by doing opposition to his government, she might want to ditch Berlusconi to trigger early elections. While Draghi's nomination is not as far-fetched as Berlusconi's, quite the contrary actually. Early elections are not an option, as nobody except Meloni want them to happen. Regardless if Draghi remains prime minister or not, she still intends to stay in the opposition to the current government, trusting in the fact that it would be more profitable from an electoral point of view. Salvini too remains faithful to the Knight, but does not hide his skepticism when he's shown the numbers. When asked, Salvini claimed that the center-right will also be united on a name different from Berlusconi, but Salvini's problem might rather be the government that will come after if Draghi were to become president of the Republic, which is something he is already planning on, and he does not count Meloni to be part of his schemes. The centrist parties are playing a relatively small role in the game. Calenda from Azione, alongside Più Europa, wanted the current Minister of Justice Marta Cartabia to succeed Mattarella and to keep Draghi as prime minister, something that is actually well regarded by the public opinion because she is a woman and people have been asking for a female president for a very long time. Renzi from Italia Viva at first tried to speak with the right-wing coalition in the hopes of finding a compromise, but then gave up after Draghi's speech in the 22nd of December when he implied his availability to be elected president. Seeing this race as already determined, Renzi alongside Salvini is thinking about who will succeed him. If things don't work out with Draghi though, Renzi can always rely on his alliance with Totti, leader of Coraggio Italia, a group of former members of Forza Italia who intend to stop Berlusconi from becoming president, probably by voting for Draghi. Things are a bit less concise on the left wing. Enrico Letta, leader of the Democratic Party, has been arguing for some time that it would be a mistake to deprive oneself of Mario Draghi as prime minister. However, he thinks that the only way to do so is by forcing Mattarella to do a 2nd term as president, which is possible according to the constitution, but the president has said a billion times already that he has no intention to remain, and for that reason he had his last end of the year speech standing up. In the Democratic Party, many believe it is inevitable that Draghi will be Mattarella's successor, especially after the speech, and foresee that to succeed Draghi as Prime Minister will be none other than Franceschini, current Minister of Culture and one of the most respected members of the party. However, there is also one conspicuous current composed of people against Draghi's election that coincides roughly with those who wanted Conte to make a third cabinet after his government crisis in early 2021. The only certainty in the PD so far is that they have no intention to vote for Berlusconi, but only time will tell what will happen next. Finally, we have the five-star movement. Giuseppe Conte was actually the first to see Draghi as a potential president. However, his suggestion was met with a lot of anger by his colleagues due to the implications that if Draghi goes, there will be early elections and nobody wants that. Then Conte did what Renzi failed to do. He made a pretty decent proposal to the center-right coalition. We will vote for whoever you want as long as you choose a woman. This could actually pave the way for Cartabia's election. However, Meloni will never agree to this, which is not the end of the world since their numbers are not necessary, but this will surely break the already precarious alliance of the right. Plus, Berlusconi still has no intention to retire, so chances are this proposal, despite how good it is, might not be the one they are going for. Plus, many senators from the five-star movement claimed that they're siding with Letta and saying that they intend to vote for Mattarella again. Good luck with that. Now, here's the part where I say my opinion. Personally, the idea of having a woman like Cartabia as the head of state is starting to grow on me. Ideologically, she is socially conservative, but economically left-wing, kind of like Aldo Moro or the average left-wing member of Christian Democracy back in the day. My only concern is that Italy really needs a justice reform, and I'm afraid that there might not be someone as competent as her to deal with it. I guess they could put anyone else from the Constitutional Court too in the ministry and call it a day, but I'm not sure. Certainly, I'd rather not have Amato back in the ministry anytime soon. Unfortunately though, just like Salvini and Renzi, I'm starting to accept the idea of having Draghi as president. I don't think there is anything wrong with him, but I was hoping for a less obvious candidate like Casini, Gentiloni or Casellati. If Berlusconi won, it would be hilarious for the first few couple of months. Then it would be either very scary or very sad because he can either make Meloni prime minister or die because he's old. I mean, look at him. I'm surprised he can still breathe. Berlusconi did promise that he will not call for early elections if he wins, which is kind of reassuring, but not a lot, to be honest. This video was inspired by the newspaper Il Mattino, which on the 4th of January published a pretty good summary of every leader's strategy and list of priorities. I did not get the name of the journalist who wrote it, but judging by the style, I guess it was Mario Aiello, but I'm not sure. I strongly recommend my Italian audience to buy printed newspapers because they give a lot more insight than free online articles. Plus, reading newspapers in public makes you look a lot smarter. Alright, that's all for me. Have a nice day guys, I will see you next week.